Long time ago, the Cherokee Indians say, when the animals could sing and talk and dance just like people, there were two friendly rivals that lived in the forest. And you know what friendly rivals are. They got along most of the time, but every once in a while they would get into a row. You know how it is with your friends. You're happy most days and then sometimes, that kind of thing. There was Mr. Rabbit and Mr. Opossum. Now, Mr. Rabbit was a handsome little fellow with his big long ears and his big long hind jumping legs. With those jumping legs, he was a great jumper, best jumper in the whole forest. But he didn't have a long tail to match. He used to have a big long tail, but then he got into a fight with Bear, and Bear bit it right off. So he had just a little short stump of a tail, and that embarrassed him some. And then there was Mr. Opossum. Now, in those days, Mr. Opossum had a long tail covered in silky black hair. It was very fine. And he was the envy of everybody in the forest. He was all the time bragging about that fancy tail, and he would say things like, "Rabbit, look at my tail. With my tail, I can use it like a broom and sweep a path on the forest floor, so I never have to walk around on crunchy sticks or leaves. Can you sweep a path with your tail?" And Rabbit would say, no. Oh, and Rabbit, with my tail, I can flip it up over my head just like Squirrel does with his and make a shade for myself. I never have to walk around in the hot sun because I can always move about under the shade of my own tail. Can you make shade with your tail? And Rabbit would say, no. Rabbit got sick and tired of Opossum all the time bragging about that fancy tail. So one day he thought he'd teach him a valuable lesson. He hopped over to Mr. Opossum's house and he said, "Mr. Opossum, I came to invite you to a dance that I'm hosting tonight. I wanted to invite you personally because we're such good friends and all. Would you like to come to a dance tonight?" And Opossum said, "Oh, no. I can't come to a dance. I have to stay home and brush my gorgeous tail." "But all the other animals are coming," said Rabbit. "It would be a shame if you don't come. Buffalo is going to be there, and Wildcat said he would come. Oh, all the birds are going to come." "Oh, no, said Opossum. "I can't possibly come to a dance with all those people stomping around. Somebody might step on my gorgeous tail." "Oh, that's a shame," said Rabbit, "because it was going to be a fancy dance. And that means everybody's going to wear their very best. Oh, yes, even Snake said he would come to the dance. He's going to shed his old skin and come with a new skin, all shiny, red, and yellow. He doesn't have any arms and legs, but he's going to wriggle around to the music as best he can. And all the birds will come with their fancy feathers. Are you sure you couldn't come to a fancy dance?" "Oh," said Opossum, his vanity kicking in. "Well, of course I could come to a fancy dance. I'm the perfect dancing leader. I could stand in the front of the line, and my tail would fly out behind me like a flag. Oh, yes, I'll come to a fancy dance." "I thought you might change your mind," said Rabbit. "Now, since it's a fancy dance, I'm going to send Cricket over because he's an excellent barber, and he can dress your tail for the dance tonight." "Oh, yes, send Cricket right over." So Cricket came to see Mr. Opossum, and Cricket said, "Mr. Opossum, you have a very long, fancy tail, and I'm a very small barber. It's going to take me all afternoon to get it ready for the fancy dance. So why don't you lay down on this nice mossy bed and take a nap, and while you're resting, I'll dress your tail, and then when you wake up, you'll be ready to go to the dance tonight." So Opossum lay down on the mossy bed to sleep, but before he fell asleep, he heard Cricket laughing. "Hee, hee, hee." "Why are you laughing?" "Oh, no reason. I'm just a very merry little man." So Opossum went to sleep, and Cricket went to work on his tail. Now, Cricket is a barber, and a good one at that. A barber cuts hair. He does not braid it, he does not oil it, he does not comb it out, he just cuts it right off. And so Cricket went to work on Opossum's tail. Every time he would cut off some hair, he would cover what he had done by wrapping Opossum's bare tail with a bright red ribbon. He would wrap round and round, and then he would cut some more hair, and he'd wrap the ribbon round and round, and then he would cut some more, and wrap the ribbon round and round. Soon enough, he'd cut all the hair off Opossum's tail, but he had covered the whole thing with that bright red ribbon and tied a fancy bow on the end. When Opossum awoke, Cricket said, "Mr. Opossum, I have dressed your tail for the fancy dance, but I covered the whole thing in this bright red ribbon so it won't get dirty when you're walking on the path to the dance tonight." When you get to the dance, jump right out into the middle of the dancing circle, stand in the firelight where everyone can see you, and grab the ribbon and yank it off your tail, and everyone will see how magnificent you look. Hee, hee, hee. Why are you laughing? Oh, no reason. I'm just a very merry little man. Well, Opossum could hardly wait for the dance to begin. Finally, when the sun went down and the moon rose up over the mountain, you could hear Rabbit calling people to the dance. He was thumping his big hind feet on a hollow log, much like people would play a drum. And all of the animals came into the center of the forest. There was Bear in his big black coat, and all the birds in their fancy feathers. Red Bird and Blue Bird, and Owl brought his big jeweled eyes. Sure enough, there was Snake in his new shiny skin, all red and yellow. But nobody danced. They were all waiting for Opossum. He was their leader. At last they heard him coming from a long way off. He was walking backwards so everybody could see his finest feature. Oh, here I come, see my fancy tail, wrapped in a red ribbon so it won't get dirty. Look at that big bow. My backside's more beautiful than Bear's face. He jumped right out into the middle of the dancing circle. He grabbed the bow and he yanked the ribbon off his tail. His tail was pink and naked. All the other animals were laughing and poking fun at Mr. Opossum, and he was so horribly embarrassed he didn't know what to do. He fell right over on his back to cover up that pink naked tail, and he would not dance. So all the other animals danced off without him. And it's that way to this very day. If you see most any animal in the forest, it will dance right off your path and get out of your way, but not Mr. Opossum. If you come upon him, he falls right over on his back to cover up that pink naked tail and starts to grin like the fool that he is. And that's the end of that.